Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting of the Board of State and Community Corrections to order. I'd like to welcome all of you who are here and thank you for joining us. All the board members that are here in person, thank you for traveling. Every time I look around here, I just appreciate you so much. I know often the weather can be annoying, and thank you for your efforts. Today, Ms. Zaragoza, Ms. Kumpion, and Mr. Budnick will not be in attendance. Joining us remotely are Dr. Lai, Dr. Castro Rodriguez, and Chief Scott, and they are going to be with us via Zoom. And now for some of our fun part. As you know, our Executive Director, Aaron McGuire, has been wearing many hats, and we've finally given him the opportunity to take a giant hat off, and that is because we have been able to hire our General Counsel, and we have Limai Lyons here with us today. I'd like to welcome her publicly. We've done a lot of welcoming her privately, and I will tell you the first 2 days she was here, Erin kept me at a distance for fear she would leave the job, which I took kind of personally. It was a little painful. Limai, would you mind saying a few words and telling us a little about yourself?
Sure. Good morning, everyone. I just want to thank some of the board members and all of the BSCC staff for welcoming me and helping me kind of onboard and get started with the team. I'm very excited to join. I am a California native. I am from Sacramento. I went down to school in San Diego. I spent the first half of my career as an attorney in San Diego, where I worked for the city of San Diego and worked on police cases and other civil actions down there. And then we, as a family, migrated up north to the Bay Area, where I joined the California Attorney General's office. And I worked in the correctional law section, working on constitutional cases and class actions. And then this opportunity came by my way, and I am really excited to join this team and help contribute to the great work that everyone does. So thank you again.
Thank you. Limai has hit the ground running. Seems like she's been here a year already. Aaron, would you like to make any comments except, say thank you, thank you, thank you?
Yeah, I hope it doesn't feel like a year. And of course, most importantly, I believe we have a Padres fan, so we appreciate that. So
I was a little concerned she left San Diego, but that's another issue.
And yes, no, I'm absolutely thrilled and ecstatic of having a new general counsel. And I would like to also just, again, thank and acknowledge Aloysia Tuitama, who was filling in. And now she has managed to take off at least one or two hats and is now full-time with our new ICDR division working on legal issues there. So
Yes,
appreciate everyone.
Aloysia has made it very clear she doesn't want to be at the head table. She's way in the back of the room right now. And I, too, would like to give my thanks and appreciation for all you did carrying two hats of your own. So hopefully you enjoy, one singular duty now, and we appreciate you. Joanna, to the fun part of the meeting, we're going to invite you all to hear the instructions on public participation.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning, everyone. We are meeting both in person and virtually, and we will support public participation during this meeting through the Zoom webinar platform. Board members in the room, please remember to state your name before making a comment so that those participating remotely may know who is speaking. For those participating remotely, if you wish to make a comment, please use the raise hand feature on Zoom or physically raise your hand so we can see you. For voting, all agenda items that require a vote will require a roll call vote at the end of each agenda item. Board members in the room, please remember to turn off your microphones when you are not speaking, and please remember to speak into your microphone so that all on Zoom may hear you. Members of the public, we will give the members of the public the opportunity to comment after the presentation of each agenda item and prior to the board voting on an item. You will have 2 minutes for your comment. After your 2 minutes have ended, I will verbally let you know, and you may watch the screen where we will display the 2-minute timer. We encourage anyone wishing to make a public comment on Zoom to raise their hand at the start of each agenda item being discussed. Members of the public will not have the ability to unmute yourself during discussion until the chair opens it up for public comment. You must raise your hand on Zoom or send a request to publiccomment@bscc.ca.gov. This is also available on our website. If you sent a request through the public comment email box, I will call on the email address or identifier you provided in your email. If you are calling by phone, dial *9 to raise your hand, dial *6 to unmute. I will call on those who have raised their hand and those who have emailed your request to speak, and I will ask you to unmute yourself. If your comment aligns with other speakers, please feel free to associate your comment with prior speakers. Thank you for your patience and understanding as we work to ensure all speakers can be heard. Agenda item 5 is the opportunity for any member of the public to make a comment on any agenda items or other comments in general. We will call the members on Zoom first, then the members here in Sacramento. Public participants in the room, please complete a public comment card located at the table behind me and provide it to me during the meeting. As a reminder, you may follow along and view the list of those in the public comment queue by visiting www.bscc.ca.gov and clicking on the link to the agenda.
Thank you, Joanna. Will you please take the roll?
Okay. Chair Penner,
Present?
Mr. McCumber,
Present.
Mr. Bishop,
Present.
Sheriff Taylor,
Present.
Chief Haynes,
Present.
Chief Ranning,
Present.
Judge Guard,
Present.
Chief Scott. I think he was going to be online. Can we check? Okay, Chief Scott is not on yet. We'll try to get him on because he did say he was going to be here. Dr. Lai
Present.
and Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Present.
And we have Mr. Budnick, Ms. Zaragoza, and Ms. Kumpian absent.
Thank you very much. Now turning to information items, we'll begin with the chair's report, and I would just like to remind everyone that this is our last board meeting of the year. Our next one is February 12th, 2026, and the rules have changed ever so slightly. SB 857, I shouldn't be allowed to quote any law, but has changed our requirements for quorum. We've been able to be slightly liberal with people attending remotely. And because our board has grown, we need to ensure that we can keep a quorum in the room. Not to say that it prohibits public participation remotely, but it is our preference you are here with us. And I will refer to Executive Director McGuire for any complaints about that portion of my report. Aaron, you want to go ahead and do your report at this point?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Good morning. I also wanted to take the time this morning also in acknowledging our new Chief Deputy Director and General Counsel. I'd also like to formally acknowledge and welcome, effective October 1st, that Steve Wicklander accepted the position of Deputy Director over Facility Standards and Operations. He was serving in that acting capacity for a good period of time after Allison's appointment as the Director of In-Custody Death Review. Steve's been a member of the BSCC for 7 years, and as I mentioned, was in that acting capacity. So again, welcome, Steve, and thank you. Moving on for additional updates, wanted to do a brief update on the juvenile regulations revision process. The Executive Steering Committee recently met on October 14th to begin the review of the final proposed draft regulations. During that meeting, the ESC was able to make its way through recommendations for changes to Title 24, which is the facility plant regulations, but was not able to finish all of their work. The ESC is scheduled to come back together at the end of January 26th and 27th, to begin that final review of the draft Title 15 regulations, including taking into consideration some potential discussion on fiscal and operational impacts. I would look to our chair, Chief Haynes, if you would like to make any remarks with respect to that.
No, thank you, Chief Haynes in Fresno. But yeah, I think you've captured everything as it's happened, and look forward to our meeting on January 26, 27.
Thank you. Um, Very briefly, I'm going to sort of jump around a little bit and just touch on a brief legislative update. Madam Chair has already covered SB 857, which was the bill that changed our quorum requirements. Also, just wanted to highlight two bills that were at the end of session. Again, mentioning just SB 157, which clarified or expanded the ability for the ICDR director to obtain records related to in-custody death reviews. And then I just wanted to mention as a bill we'll be watching at the start of the next legislative cycle was Assembly Bill 1229, which was proposed to move the Adult Reentry Grant Program from the BSCC to the Department of Housing and Community Development. That bill was placed on the inactive file late during the session, and so we'll continue to monitor that legislation to see if it moves in the next session. A few updates with respect to the ongoing issues in Los Angeles County's probation department. As we last reported at the last board meeting, there are several facilities that are part of the Los Padrinos depopulation plan for pre-adjudicated youth. Wanted to provide an update for those facilities individually. First, I'll mention the status of, this is actually not the pre-adjudicated situation, but there was you may recall that we inspected the SYTF at the Barry J. Nydorf facility to inform the board's decision on whether to consider the juvenile hall to be have fixed the items of noncompliance there. We received notification that on November 3rd that they had corrected the remaining items of noncompliance with respect to the SYTF inspection with respect to safety checks. We are going to look for compliance of that last remaining out of compliance item at the SYTF in December. Separately, we'll also be doing a separate targeted inspection of that SYTF also in December as part of just the regular inspection cycle. Moving on to the status of the Barry J. Nydorf Juvenile Hall, as I mentioned in September, the county notified us on August 14th that they would be moving forward with transferring youth into the Nydorf Juvenile Hall. You may recall that the board determined that the juvenile hall was unsuitable, and it remains unsuitable. We are nonetheless will be, before we come back for additional recommendations with respect to that facility, we will be conducting a comprehensive inspection of that juvenile hall, which is also going to be scheduled for December. On November 4th, the BSCC team conducted a pre-inspection briefing with the county. With respect to Camp Kilpatrick, which is now being changed to an all-female facility, but it's going to be a combined juvenile hall, SYTF, and camp. As I briefed the board in September, we were waiting for some additional Title 24 documentation, as well as confirmation from CDCR and the State Public Works Board before scheduling a pre-opening inspection. The Camp Kilpatrick is also part of the Los Padrinos depopulation plan. While waiting for that documentation, and on November 4th, the BSCC team had a pre-planned visit at Los Padrinos, and we had learned that 12 predisposition youth had already been moved to Camp Kilpatrick, despite not receiving a clearance from us to do so. Also on November 4th, we received a formal notification from the county that they were activating that facility. As it turned out, because we had staff down there at the same time, staff conducted an unannounced inspection of Camp Kilpatrick that day and identified additional items of noncompliance, which were related to the pre-inspection issues of Title 24. We issued a notice of noncompliance to the county based on some of those outstanding items. The county now has 60 days or January 5th to provide a corrective action plan with respect to what is going on with Camp Kilpatrick. And with that, I'll ask for any questions, and then what I'd like to do is turn it over to our new general counsel to provide at least some of the legal updates with respect to the 3 different cases involving the litigation at involving LA County.
Well, that was a lot. Many dates, many interactions with LA. Does any of the board have questions or they'd like to ask? We're staying with close oversight of LA and trying to move a very complex agenda forward. So please don't hesitate to raise concerns or questions if you have them.
And with that, Madam Chair, that would conclude my executive director report. And so for that, for the legal update side of what is going on with the status of all the litigation, for issues that, and we are planning to have closed session later to discuss some additional issues, but for the public discussion, I'd turn it over to Lamai to give the update.
So we have 3 active cases that we're monitoring or involved in, related to the Los Angeles facilities. So the first case is County of Los Angeles and Los Angeles County Probation Department versus Board of State and Community and Corrections. And this is the matter in LA Superior that the county and department is seeking a writ of mandamus, essentially vacate the BSCC's unsuitability findings. The only update there is that the court has continued the trial setting conference from November 4th to February 5th, 2026 at 1:30. Case number 2, in Ray Brandon. This is the habeas case before Judge Espinoza regarding Los Angeles's depopulation plan for Los Padrinos Juvenile Hall. The court continued the order to show cause hearing from November 13th to December 11th at 8:30. And the court invited the BSCC as a friend of the court to submit any relevant documentation or status update by December 10th. And yesterday, the LA Public Defender's Office filed a motion with the court seeking clarification of the court's approval of the depopulation plan and whether that approval permits LA Probation Department to transfer youth to facilities that either the BSCC has already deemed unsuitable or is in violation of Title 24. And the last matter that we're monitoring is the State of California versus Los Angeles County. This is the case involving the California Attorney General's Office seeking appointment of a receiver to manage and oversee the Los Angeles County juvenile halls. On October 10th, the court denied the state's motion to appoint a receiver on several grounds. And currently, the court is holding evidentiary hearings on the following topics. So the first group of topics that they're hearing evidence on is staffing, hiring, and training. I believe they're still in the middle of hearing evidence on that. And then the next topic is technology, data, and data management. And the last topic is use of force and youth safety. So these evidentiary hearings began on October 24th, continued on November 7th, and will continue on November 21st, December 12th, and December 19th until all the testimony and evidence is completed. Like Aaron mentioned, the additional discussion of these matters will be reserved for closed session.
Thank you. Questions or comments from any of the board members?
Madam Chair, just one quick question. In regard to the Attorney General's suit, have we been asked to provide any supporting documentation to those hearings at all from the BSCC?
The court has not requested any information from the BSCC yet.
Okay, thank you.
Seeing Chief Scott, welcome. I note you have joined us remotely. Any remote board member comments? Seeing none.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, I had a question, but it's probably more appropriate for closed session. So thank you, Chair.
Okay. Okay. Public comment on any of the items the board has addressed thus far. Looking in the room, I see none. Joanna, remotely?
I'm checking. The inbox has none. Let me double check.
Thank you.
I don't see any on Zoom either right now, Madam Chair.
We're moving now to the consent agenda, and we have a recusal on one of the consent agenda items,
Yes.
E2 and 3.
Yes, Madam Chair, E2 and E3, we would have Chief Haynes recuse on those items.
Yes, is it a good time to kick him out?
It can be depending on the pleasure of the board in terms of whether or not any other items will come off the consent and whether or not Chief Haynes wishes to vote on the other consent items.
Hold just a minute. Any other consent agenda items you wish to be pulled? Okay. Any other than? Okay, so we are going to pull item A. We will take that first and then address the rest of the consent agenda, and then we'll kick out Chief Haynes for item E. Is that acceptable? Mr. Executive Director?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Now taking item A.
I would request that item 6 reflect that I was recused from that item.
Thank you. Very helpful. So we have changed item 6 to reflect recusal of board member Guard. We now have on the consent agenda for consideration B, C, D, and leaving E. Any other comments? I'm looking for a motion. Oh, I'm sorry. Are there any public comments on the consent agenda or any items wishing to be pulled? Seeing none in the room. Joanna?
Madam Chair, at this time, I don't see any on Zoom or in public comment.
Now it seems it would be prudent to move to a motion and a second.
I've moved to approve consent items. Are we going to do A, B, C, and D? A as amended?
Thank you. Can I get a second? Thank you. Got a motion and a second. Joanna?
Okay. Chair Penner,
Aye.
Mr. McCumber,
Aye.
Mr. Bishop,
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor,
Aye.
Chief Haynes,
Aye.
Chief Branning,
Aye.
Judge Guard,
Aye.
Chief Scott,
Aye.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, the motion carries.
Welcome, Dr. Castro Rodriguez. We didn't acknowledge you earlier, but it's good to have you here. Now we are moving to item E. We have asked Chief Haynes to leave the room. It is still on the consent agenda. Are there any public comments on item E, either in the room or online?
I see no public comments right now, Madam Chair.
Any questions or concerns from any board members for item E? Chair is looking for a motion and a second.
I motion
Got a
to
motion
approve
and a
item E.
second. Thank you. Joanna? Aye.
Aye. Aye. Aye.
Recused?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry, Joanna, I can't hear
Chief
you.
Scott, sorry.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. Aye, thank you.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion carries for E2 and E3.
Thank you. Moving on now to discussion items. Item F of the agenda, the corrective action plan.
Madam Chair, sorry, can we go get Chief?
You can do that. Thank you. Why is he so integral? We will hold for just a moment. It was rolling so smoothly. I was just going along and along and along. For the record, Chief Haynes, I didn't notice you were missing. We're now moving on to item F, the corrective action plan process approval, requesting approval, I should say. Do we have any recusals on this item, Executive Director or Council?
I don't think we have any recusals on this.
Anybody on the board comfortable with moving ahead? Okay. We will have Lee Mai Lyons, Chief Deputy Director and Council, present on this item.
Actually, I'm gonna take this one up because this one's my fault. No, it's not my fault. I know this item a little bit better, having presented being involved with the policy that was adopted over a year ago. So what this report is requesting of the board is approval of proposed regulations for inspection of juvenile detention facilities, and specifically the corrective action plan process that is spoken about in Welfare and Institutions Code Section 209. Upon the board's approval, we will begin the Office of Administrative Law process to promulgate these regulations, which includes a 45-day public comment period. At the July 2024 meeting, the board approved a process for BSCC staff to receive, review, and approve corrective action plans pursuant to Welfare and Institutions Code Section 209D. And the proposed regulations, which is adopting that policy, would reinforce the BSCC's authority and current practice to conduct inspections more frequently than once a year. It establishes the ability for the BSCC Executive Director or Deputy Director to approve or disapprove the corrective action plan, outlines the criteria and conditions for approval or disapproval of a corrective action plan, clearly establishes the dates for the effectiveness of the corrective action plans, and then sets forth the process for the board to ratify or overrule the delegate's approval or disapproval of the corrective action plan. As mentioned, upon approval, the BSCC staff will submit the proposed regulation package to the Office of Administrative Law, and there will be a 45-day comment period following that. What we are recommending the board do is that the board directs staff to begin the rulemaking process for revisions to Title 15 as proposed in the attachments, that the board directs staff to bring a final package for approval if substantive revisions are made to the draft language during the regulatory making process, and finally, if no substantive changes are made to that draft regulatory language, that staff is directed to file the final regulatory package with the Office of Administrative Law, and that this board action constitute the final approval. With that, Madam Chair, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Aaron. Anyone from the board, either in person or remotely, have any questions or comments on this item?
Madam Chair, I do have just a couple questions. Procedural one, Aaron, Kirk Haynes, is under the regulatory process that's going to be followed to get this to the Office of Administrative Law. Will the work of the regs be part of the ESC's work now, or is that going to be separate from the process that's going on right now with the ESC?
So this is a standalone item with respect to the process. So this would not go to the ESC for discussion.
Perfect. Yeah, just wanted a clarity around that. And then the second question is around sub E, where it talks about the board ratification process. Under number 4, under that section where it says denial of the corrective action plan is subject to ratification as described in subdivision E and shall not be subject to appeal pursuant to this section 1314. Question, so if, the way that I understand it, and we're working through this process now because the policy is already in place, and we just wanted to, we want to promulgate the regulation to reflect what's happening now. So if the delegate, or if the designee, whoever the board has designated, usually the executive director, to approve a cap, if it comes to the board, like today, we've had 3 that are on the agenda today. If it comes to the board after the executive director has approved the cap, and then the board subsequently denies that at this level, what is the next step in the process? Because the way that it reads, it says in section number 3, it talks about this action by the board would not extend any time period for compliance or anything like that. So if there's no extension of the time to comply, if this board makes a final determination that the cap is not approved, then what would be the next recourse for a probation department? Just to make sure that we can understand, if this board does say that that cap is not approved, then essentially the department is, or the facility would be found unsuitable. So just help me so I can understand that.
Sure, and to be clear, we're not, that regulation is basically codifying what the statute now provides. So there was a bill that the governor signed that, again, changed the process in welfare and institutions, section 209D.
Sure.
And part of that language was that basically the time would not be stayed for the period between the denial and the approval. So in the scenario that you've just talked about, what happens if the deputy director or executive director approves the plan, and then the board says, no, we think this plan was terrible, we're going to deny it.
Right.
So depending on the clock, I would say, so let's assume that the 60 days for the approval or disapproval has lapsed, and so this is the last stop. Upon denial by the board, what we would do is then issue a notice of unsuitability to the department saying that within 60 days, the facility is deemed to be not suitable for the confinement of youth. And that's statute. So that is what's required in 209 D and 209A4.
Is that 60 or 90 days?
60 days.
Okay.
So it's if a corrective action plan is not approved by the board within 60 days of the notice of noncompliance. So we issue a notice of noncompliance with the inspection report. Probation department has 60 days to get an approved cap on file with the board. So it has to be approved within the 60 days following the notice of noncompliance.
Understood.
So in this example, deputy director approves the plan, let's just say on the 60th day. The next board meeting happens a month later, comes before the board, it's on the consent calendar, like we just saw. I'm not going to name names, but someone says, let's pull off that from the consent calendar, and we're going to overrule the director's determination, deny that cap. Because of statute, what happens is we would be required to notice the facility that they are now unsuitable because they don't have a corrective action plan, an approved corrective action plan on file. And then it would be a 60-day notice saying you have to, that the facility is no longer suitable. Now, what happens in that intervening 60 days, that they would it would sort of, again, depend on the calendar. And the board has done different things in those cases. We've scheduled board meetings within 30 days to see if the facility can come back into compliance and other things. But per statute, if they do not have an approved corrective action plan on file within the 60 days after the notice of noncompliance, then the facility by law is unsuitable.
Right, and the department would have been acting on the, the determination by the executive director that the cap was approved and proceeding as if, to try to remedy whatever it is. And then when it gets to this body, I just want to just clarify for everyone that, because section 4, number 4 of this, was not part of the legislation, but I know that was added just to make sure that we all understood that there was no appellate opportunity right after this board has made that determination of noncompliance on that cap. So we would walk through this unsuitability process at that point. Like if that was today, if we found today one of those caps was not compliant and the 60-day clock is already run, then today the board would find a notice of unsuitability, or would that be at the next board meeting?
So a denial of so if the board had denied the caps that were on the consent calendar.
And the 60 days already run.
Yeah, that it's a separate timeline. So it triggers a notice of unsuitability.
Right.
And within that notice, it says, following 60 days, this facility is no longer suitable for the confinement of youth.
And that trigger would happen at today's hearing, or would that happen at a subsequent board meeting?
No, it would happen. We would send the notice out within the next business day,
Gotcha.
basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just wanted to get clarity,
Yeah.
Madam Chair. Thank you.
Good question. Good question. Anyone else from the board? Comments, question? Anybody remotely? Comments, question? Seeing none, I'll now turn to public comments on this issue. Anyone in the room or remotely wish to comment?
Madam Chair, I don't see any public comment on Zoom or via email.
Seeing none in the
None
room?
in the room.
Pardon? Thank you, thank you. I would now ask you to take a vote, take the roll.
A first or a second?
Oh, God, I apologize. I get so excited. May I have a motion?
I'll move to approve item F.
Thank you,
Second.
thank you. Try this again. Move for a vote.
Chair Penner,
Aye.
Mr. McCumber,
Aye.
Mr. Bishop,
Aye.
Sheriff Taylor,
Aye.
Chief Haynes,
Aye.
Chief Branning,
Aye.
Judge Guard,
Aye.
Chief Scott,
Aye.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion carries for item F.
Thank you very much. Moving on to item G, standards and training for compliance report and annual update. This is an information item only. Hello, Casey. Good to have you here.
Good morning, Chair Penner and members of the board. I'm Casey Warmoth, the Deputy Director for the Standards and Training for Corrections Division. Agenda item G provides STC's annual report and is an information-only item. I'll begin with describing the participants of the STC program. The STC program is responsible for developing selection and training standards for local corrections and probation personnel. Sheriff's offices, police departments, and probation departments voluntarily participate in the STC program and are provided with subvention funding to assist with meeting the program requirements. For the fiscal year 24-25 training year, 151 agencies participated in the STC program. Combined, these agencies employed over 30,000 local corrections staff. There were also 262 private providers who deliver STC certified training to agency staff. Now moving into compliance. All agencies that participate in the STC program must meet STC's training standards. These standards require that employees in an assignment for 1 year or more complete annual training. Annual training requires completing a defined minimum number of training hours each year, which ranges from 24 to 40 hours, depending on the classification. Employees within their first year of a new assignment complete core training. Core training consists of a prescribed course of training, which can range between 2 and 4 weeks in duration, depending on the job classification. The standards also require STC to complete an annual compliance review of each agency. The purpose of the compliance review is to check for compliance with the training standards. It is not feasible to review the training records of over 30,000 correctional staff, so our review includes a representative and random sample of training files for each agency. We also require agencies to do a self-audit and add any issues they identify to our sample. We review all the training files in the sample to determine whether required training was completed. The findings are used to determine agency compliance. STC has a 100% compliance requirement. This means to be found in compliance, all of an agency's employees must have completed the required STC training or met one of STC's criteria for mitigating circumstances. Mitigating, in other words, are the circumstances that would allow a specific agency's personnel to meet compliance without meeting the 100% standard. These circumstances include an employee's significant unanticipated leave at the end of the training year, an employee was absent from work for 6 months or more within the fiscal training year, a personnel problem involving an employee, but the participating agency took positive steps to correct the problem, or the number of staff or the number of training hours lacking for full compliance is insignificant compared to the agency's total training obligation. And this occurred despite the agency exercising due diligence in the management and oversight of the training program. If an agency fails to train all of its employees and does not meet STC's criteria for mitigating circumstances, the agency is found out of compliance. For the last fiscal year, 144 agencies were found to be in compliance, and 7 agencies were found to be out of compliance. Attachment G3 identifies the individual agencies. There were over 30,000 personnel who participated in the STC program last year, and just 7 staff did not receive the required core training, and 80 staff did not receive all of their required annual training. As such, the number of staff not meeting their full STC requirements presents about 1/4 of 1% of the local corrections personnel statewide. Agencies that are found out of compliance are required to submit a corrective action plan, and STC staff conduct quarterly reviews to monitor their progress towards that plan. In addition to monitoring for compliance, STC staff review requests for course certifications to be sure approved courses meet STC standards, audit courses for effective delivery, and provide ongoing technical assistance to both participating agencies and training providers. STC also supports 5 regional training associations that provide a venue for STC training managers to share information and receive STC updates. Additionally, STC currently has 2 projects underway that will continue in the next year. First, in December, we anticipate distributing a job analysis survey as part of our project to revise both the supervisor core course and the manager and administrator core course, with responses requested in early 2026. Second, STC will implement an updated selection exam for the entry-level classifications and anticipates the exam will go live in July 2026. With this update, the format and abilities tested will remain the same, but the test will consist of all new questions and is consistent with testing best practices. This concludes the STC annual report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
I have a comment, Madam Chair.
Apologies. Yes, please.
I just want to thank you for your report and just take the staff, even for us being a smaller sheriff's office with 2 facilities. My corrections captain is here today, and we understand how difficult it is to stay in compliance, especially with short staffing. But the fact that we have 1/4 of 1% out of compliance in the state of California is not only a testament to how hard I think everybody's trying, but it's really how easy it is to work with your staff and how accommodating everybody is to make sure that we're doing things the right way. And if we are falling short, that we're given pathways of how to correct that. So I just wanted to thank you very much and thank your staff and the BSCC for doing this.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. And Casey, thank you for your leadership. This is not simple.
Thank you.
Lots of integral moving parts on this agenda item, and we appreciate all you've done and your staff for doing all that. Anybody else? Anybody, we remotely, I can't see you now, so if you had your hands raised, I'm ignoring you.
There is no public comment right now in the inbox or on Zoom.
Okay. All right.
None in the room.
Thank you, thank you. This is information only, so thank you, Casey, and we will move on down the agenda. I think we are at strategic planning process. Let me see here. Yes, we are, item H. Our communications director, Jana Stanford Miller, is here to present on this issue, and good to have you.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the board. As Chair Penner mentioned, I'm Jana Sanford Miller. I'm the Communications Director here at the agency. I'm here this morning to present the 2025-2030 Strategic Plan Goals and Objectives for your consideration. In October 2024, the board approved the initiation of a new strategic planning process. Our current strategic plan is actually in effect through December of 2026. However, we had experienced significant policy and organizational changes to make it to where we felt like it was important to go ahead and initiate a new planning process. So some of those policy and organizational changes, including new positions on the board, including a licensed healthcare provider, which Dr. Lai is now serving in that seat, as well as a licensed mental or behavioral health provider, which Dr. Castro Rodriguez has joined us in that board seat. Changes to the individual board membership. In fact, when the current strategic plan was approved by the board in 2021, there's only 5 current members of the board that were actually a part of that particular process. Broadening of the board mission with Senate Bill 519 and the in-custody death review. And of course, we have Director Allison Gancher serving as the ICDR director at this time. Executive Director in 1622, which provided direction to state agencies on the use of data analysis to address disparities with the goal to advance equity. And one of the organizational changes that's very important that we didn't realize we would have back in October of 2024 is we have a new executive director with Erin McGuire. It's good we started that process. So this slide should look familiar. I shared it in October. It represents the process we had intended to follow at that time. And today I can discuss where we are in this process and why today's actions impact the agency through the life cycle of the plan. So as you can see, there are 4 different steps. The first step being the development of goals, defined as being very broad in nature and long-term, defining the desired result. So after board approval in October, BSCC staff went back and thoroughly reviewed the existing goals and objectives and made modifications where necessary. Once the goals were solidified, we moved on to step number 2, which was defining our objectives, which allows each division or programmatic area to develop specific, measurable actions that align with the overarching vision and develop goals. So once this second step was completed, the draft goals and objectives were then published to the BSCC website for public comment. To facilitate public comment, Executive Director McGuire highlighted the open public comment period during the February board meeting, and 2 additional notifications were sent to stakeholders by electronic mail. Every effort was made to incorporate public comment into the goals and objectives. While some comments received fell outside of the board's mission, other comments will be moved into the specific and time-based SMART strategies that will be developed in the next phase of the strategic plan, which is step 3. So what you see in attachment H1 is the revised BSCC strategic plan goals and objectives after staff analysis and public comment, which is what I am asking you to consider today. This will provide our staff with board direction and allow us to put your vision into action through steps 3 and 4. With step 3, allowing staff to develop specific time-bound strategies, including the performance indicators, so that we can measure our success. Finally, step 4 in our overall strategic planning process will be to regularly monitor progress throughout the entire life cycle of the plan through 2030. Oops. So while I won't read through the goals and objectives word for word as they are outlined in detail in your attachment and available on our website, essentially there are 6 overarching goals which are highlighted on this slide and written out in your handout. We believe these goals and objectives fully encompass the board's vision and speak to the needs and concerns of our stakeholders. So at this time and in conclusion, staff recommends approval of the BSCC 2025-2030 strategic plan goals and objectives, which will then be used to develop our SMART strategies moving forward. So I am happy to answer any questions that you might have, and I appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions or comment from the board, either in person or remotely? I will just say this is yet again another heavy lift, and I appreciate all your work. You are relatively new to the agency too, so grabbing this one by the horns and taking charge of it has been an impressive project, and we appreciate all you've done.
Thank you.
With that said, do we have any members of the public, either remotely or in person, that would like to make comment?
Madam Chair, I don't see any participants on Zoom or in public comment.
Thank you. Because it seems like the right thing to do now, returning to the board, can I get a motion and a second?
2025-2030 strategic plan.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Eubanks.
Brandon, will you take the roll?
Chair Penner,
Aye.
Mr. McCumber,
Aye.
Mr. Bishop,
Aye.
Chief Taylor,
Aye.
Chief Haynes,
Aye.
Chief Branning,
Aye.
Judge Guard,
Aye.
Chief Scott,
Aye.
Dr. Lai,
Aye.
Dr. Castro Rodriguez.
Aye.
Madam Chair, the motion carries.
Thank you. Moving on now to item I, local detention facilities inspection update. I would invite our newly appointed, although been here a long time, Deputy Director Steve Wicklander to the dais, and congratulations.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And we're glad to have you, and you now may report out to the board.
All right, thank you. Good morning, Madam Chair, board members, colleagues, and community members. I'm Stephen Wicklander, the Deputy Director for the Facility Standards and Operations and the County Facilities Construction Divisions. I'm here this morning to provide a regular update on the status of our facility inspections and outstanding items of non-compliance. You have copies of the reports, and the information is also provided online. The 2025-2026 inspection cycle began January 1st of 2025 and will conclude on December 31st of 2026. I'll begin with an update on the adult facility inspections. The FSO adult team has completed 87 comprehensive inspections, along with 24 unannounced inspections and 112 pre-inspection briefs for Type 2 and Type 3 facilities. Currently, there are 34 outstanding correction items related to non-compliance. Your documentation currently shows 35. Alameda corrected their one item of non-compliance late yesterday afternoon for a correction. The FSO team continues to work closely with the agencies to address and resolve these issues. At this time, none of the outstanding items rise to the level that would warrant requesting a sheriff to appear before the board. Moving on to the juvenile facility inspections, the FSO juvenile team has completed 68 comprehensive inspections, 24 unannounced, and 101 pre-inspection briefs of juvenile facilities. We currently have 4 counties with pending non-compliant issues. There are currently 38 outstanding corrective action items related to non-compliance. Notably, 25 of the outstanding items stem from a recent inspection of Orange County probation. These findings reflect a system-wide noncompliance with many of the same issues reoccurring across multiple facilities, primarily due to outdated policies. Orange County Corrective Action Plan was recently approved and will be on the February board agenda for ratification. The FSO juvenile team is working with the respective agencies to address and resolve these issues. And before moving on to any questions this time, I'd like to thank the executive director for my selection and also my peers and colleagues for their support, and a special thanks to Director Ganter in the back for her guidance and mentorship over the last 7.5 years.
Oh.
So this concludes my formal presentation. I would be happy to take any questions at this time.
Thank you for acknowledging all that helped you, and we're yet again appreciative of having you. Moving now to the board for comments or questions on this item.
Comment again.
Yes.
Madam Chair. Welcome to your role. Congratulations. And for those of you that are new to the board, I can tell you that there's some outliers clearly that we've dealt with as far as being non-compliant and maybe non-cooperative. But as a sheriff that runs 2 smaller facilities, and actually Captain Corral, who's here in the room, there is a level of anxiety when these inspections happen because we want to get it right. But again, as with the STC stuff, I just want everyone to understand that there is a real collaboration and teamwork to try to get it right. And those of us that are falling off or if we're out of compliance, it's definitely an effort to get everybody back into compliance. And I just appreciate, especially when we've had new administrators come into this role, for at least for our facilities, having the guidance and the direction and the help and support of the BSCC and the inspection teams has really helped us identify issues where we could do stuff better, and has really kept us on the right track. So, you know, I think that as we go through these regulations and we go through these talks, and I'm sure we'll have another nice conversation in closed session, I do think the vast majority of us in the state of California want to get it right. And it's nice to have the oversight, but really a team behind us that wants to help us do it correctly. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you for your remarks. Anyone else? I see no hands raised remotely. Now looking for public comments, either in the room or remotely. Joanna?
Madam Chair, at this moment, I don't see any public comment via Zoom or on email.
Thank you very much. That concludes this item. Thank you, Steve. Your first time as a permanent leader is gone absolutely stunning.
Thank you.
Now, I'm going to ask the question before I take this on myself. We are going to have public comment on any item before the board, either before the board or not before the board at this moment, and then we will move to closed session. Following that, we will adjourn the meeting. Is that accurate?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you, thank you. I didn't want to go out on that limb by myself. So now I would invite public comment on any item, whether it was before the board or not at this time. Looking for anyone in the audience personally or remotely. If you have any comments at this time, we would welcome them.
Madam Chair, we do have a public comment via Zoom. Shine A.
Thank you. Welcome.
Good morning, board and guests. I was confused. I didn't hear in section 3, item C, the no cost extension for the CalVIP cohort 4, if it was approved or if that item was skipped over.
That item was approved.
It was on our consent agenda, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
I don't see any other public comment at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. At this point, we will pause the meeting, clear the room, and do our closed session.
So we should jump off and go on to the other Zoom right now,
You
right?
should have a separate Zoom link on your calendar.
Yes. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, it looks like we have everybody back. And upon completion of our closed session, I move to adjourn the meeting of the Board of State and Community Corrections, and we'll see you all again in February. Thank you. There's a hand up. Is that just a fake hand?
That's just the mouse cursor, I think.
Or the mouse cursor? Oh, yeah. Is it Mickey Mouse? Because I was just there. Mickey. All right.
Thank you, everyone. Have a happy holiday.
Take care. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.